It was William Ruto. Yeah. So Joshua Kurei and William Ruto were the people who were tasked by Moi to chaperone Uhuru's entry into politics. Obviously, I think Moi had his own succession designs, for his last term. So that project was very important for him. If it was a job, it could have ended in 2002. Because after 2002, Moi was no more. Moi was out of power. Moi had left, but they still stuck together up to, again, we now go out to 2004, 2005, during the Kano elections in Kasarani, when William Ruto was elected, now post-Moi, when Uhuru was elected chair, and William Ruto was elected Secretary General.
The true Ruto was the 2007 Ruto, 5 years down the line.
Wakenya wako wapi? Na ni wakina nani utaweka kando? Na ni wakina nani wanakudanganya?
Kalenjin elders held a meeting, a very big meeting in Eldoret, and they summoned William Ruto, and they asked him, are you going to join us? And he said, no, I want us to support this old man. I have agreed with Uhuru, and we know how we will tame him and his people. So please give me the blessing. I close up and work with the Kibaki. And the elders told him, my friend, you are too late. Now we are in Kiboswa. The next minute we'll be in Kisumu. We are just knocking. Yeah? And that's how Ruto reluctantly, quite reluctantly, worked with Raila against Uhuru and Kibaki.
But that election was about to redefine the relationship of Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto for years to come. The disputed presidential election outcome plunged the country into one of its darkest political moments yet, as ethnic bloodletting, looting and widespread violence engulfed various parts of the country. At least 1,300 people were killed in the ensuing mayhem, and more than 600,000 others displaced from their homes. A frenzied international mediation effort eventually quieted the chaos, leading to the formation of the Grand Coalition government.
We do have a deal.
Vile sasa wananchi mmekubaliana tufanye kazi kama wananchi pamoja, basi tuelekee huko na tuache fitina.
Tunataka kusahau yaliyopita. Najua kuna wengine watasema tio, mbona Raila amefanya hii, amekubali hii, lakini Kenya ni muhimu zaidi kushinda Raila au mtu mwingine.
After the Grand Coalition government and our differences emerged with our party ODM, Honorable William Ruto and a team that he leads, we walked out of ODM and joined PNU.
But for Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, the real drama was yet to begin.
Mr. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
It soon became clear that the International Criminal Court, which was until then an unknown entity in the country, had trained its eyes on Kenya, with frequent visits by its then chief prosecutor, Louis Moreno Campo.
Thank you for your presence here.
And eventually on 15th December 2010, Ocampo finally unveiled his mysterious list of 6 people who had been fingered over their alleged roles in the 2007-2008 political election violence.
He authorized the police to use excessive force against civilians in Kisumu and Kibera. They were shooting and killing more than 100 people that they didn't identify as supporters of the other party.
Among the 6, 3 were associated with the ODM side, namely former Cabinet Minister Henry Kosgei, radio presenter Joshua Arap Sang, and William Samoei Arap Ruto, who had played a key role in mobilizing the ODM vote in the Rift Valley. On the opposite side was then Police Commissioner Major General retired Mohammed Hussein Ali, the then head of Public Service Francis Mudaura, and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, opposition leader turned key supporter of President Mwai Kibaki. Facing an existential threat, Uhuru and Ruto were about to be brought together again by fate.
We brought together elders from the Kalenjin nation and elders from the Kikuyu nation who sat together and agreed. And by the way, William Ruto had refused to be the running mate. He wanted to run as president, Uhuru to run as president, and then they come together in a runoff. And I remember telling the deputy president, my friend, if you can do it in a runoff, you might as well try it in the first round. In any case, if you don't get it in the first round or even in that runoff, you'll be in the Hague. So you either agree now to come together and work towards victory, or you hang separately.
The glue that brought these two people together outside politics was the ICC indictment. And you know, the ICC was both local and international conspiracy to lock out William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, who were serious competitors in the 2013 general election, and to give a through pass to Raila Odinga.
There was one Harambee, if you remember, for the Mau evictees at Pan-African Hotel. And that is the beginning of the new phase of their life. So that time they are still talking, you know, reproachments, pole. Then this Harambee, which happened to have been somewhere around 2011, if I'm not wrong, or 2009, I remember. Ruto made the thinkable move and invited Uhuru to preside over the Harambee for Mau evictees. And Ruto was fought by his people. How can you invite our enemies? How can you do this? And Uhuru was viciously fought by both the Kikuyus, the Gema, yeah, within now the Kibaki side of government, but also by his coalition partners. Now William Ruto now goes to his people to tell him that he has decided to work with Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember, they have now the ICC issue on their neck. Oh, and they could not understand. How can you take water, instead of pumping it down to the lake, you are pumping it up the mountain? They couldn't understand. That's the analogy that the Kalenjin elders again used. But he really tried, and he convinced them that this is the best thing for them. Let them work together. We have got ICC here. In any case, whether we win or we don't win, this is the only formula that we can be able to have our people to live together.
All options were now on the table. They had toyed with the idea of running for the top seats themselves, but the case was proving to be an impediment. Some in their ranks weighed the possibilities of enticing some of their allies to go for the top jobs, with a view to shielding them from the ICC monster. The names of Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka featured prominently.
At one time, in a meeting where I was, Kalonzo Musyoka told Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto that, you'll only be jailed for 10 years. So let me become the candidate, the president. Then after 10 years, you'll come out. And I remember that meeting ended there and then after that statement. It was the most reckless, irresponsible statement.
By the time they were pushed to their core and agreed to work together, one thing was top of their minds: fighting the ICC cases. But their publicly stated political narrative was uniting their communities that had viciously fought each other in the previous elections.
In their merger was the ICC case. The ICC case was a political case. It was not a legal case. So we have agreed in principle that we must deal with it politically. How do you deal with it politically? We must be the ones running the next government. I don't want to go into the details.
They formed themselves into a formidable political coalition. They ran a highly charged campaign with anti-Western sentiments, selling the narrative that Kenya's former colonial powers were seeking to recolonize the country through the ICC cases.
Na kwa marafiki wetu wa nje, ningependa niseme hivi. We as Kenyans have gone through very difficult and trying times. But we ourselves also have the solution to our problems. We are now under a new constitutional dispensation that has been passed by Kenyans. And the fundamental basis of that constitution is to give our people the freedom and the right to choose their elected representatives. We are asking those who are going around in courts thinking that they can elect the people of Kenya through the court or through the legislature or through the executive. We are telling them through the constitution, Kenyans themselves have the right to elect their own leaders.
The unlikely victory brought home many questions. Was it a genuine reconciliation, or was it a marriage of convenience that will soon be tested by the reality of running a government?
I, Uhuru Kenyatta, in full realization of the high calling I assume as President of the Republic of Kenya.
But the Ruto pair gave the country no time for guesswork. Instead, they hit the national headlines with what appeared to be a new style in statecraft. They wore matching shirts and ties, and like true lovebirds, finished each other's sentences. They appeared to mirror the Barack Obama-Joe Biden fairy tale that was unfolding thousands of kilometers across the Atlantic.
Actually, the election of 2013 was a peace dividend election. It was not a love affair. It was people sacrificing for the sake of peace of this country.
We thought we had arrived in terms of a really shared presidency, not shared constitutionally, but the two fellows who cared so much about the country, given the past that we had come from, and the communities they represented. We thought that was a very good thing.
So close were the two that at one point, when the president left the country to attend his ICC case, he signed a public decree to leave his deputy in charge. But it didn't last long. Unbeknown to the public, suspicion and discontent was already brewing in the Jubilee House.
Of course, there was really a desire to change things and to transform. They worked very well, 2013, 2014, 2015. I think around when I personally started sensing there's something, was in 2016, when Uhuru's case was dropped at the ICC ahead of Ruto's case.
I was involved in the president's campaign in 2016, 2017, and I know he was fed up, right? But it was between a crocodile and a shark. On one side was Ruto, and the other side was Raila. So he had to choose which one should eat him up.
From the time the president won his second term, the second election, his advisors were ready to have a deal with Tinga for the next 5 years, and isolate and kill completely the dream of Jubilee Party of uniting the country, of William Ruto succeeding the president within the 10-10.
The sense of betrayal was setting in, and things were no longer at ease.
We are not using him to get the 2017 vote. We could have got that vote even with another combination. We could have got that vote even with Lulias, for example, with Eugene Wamalwa running mate.
It was obvious who was preferred, and the preferred was Eugene. Yeah, it was. Remember, the first meeting when Eugene was told to be running mate, I actually had come from Meru. If you go back to your records, with Uhuru when we opened the Central Bank Center in Meru town. And when we landed, we went for a talk at KU. And from that, when we were talking with James Wang to the children, from that talk, Uhuru told me to call Eugene. And we went somewhere. And Eugene refused to be running me. I remember some people very close to Uhuru. Some of them were his relatives. One guy asked me at Jacaranda Hotel, why are you trying too hard to save Ruto? Kwani Uhuru cannot get another deputy? I said, hello. That I knew publicly there's no problem. There's no even indication of any problem. But this guy who is actually a very close relative to Uhuru asked me, you mean Uhuru cannot get another running mate, even if William Ruto is taken away? Then I started saying now here, there must be some people who are corroborating this thing.
Until 2017 election is when cracks emerged. And in all that was just the beginning of the common thing in Kenyan politics, politics of deceit, politics of betrayal. And this you'll find it in every government.
Is it before or after the election?
No, just before the election. Even there were people who were thinking of, do we replace William Ruto with Kalonzo Musyoka?
But in the run-up to the 2017 general election, the duo put on a brave face. They denied any suggestion that all was not well in the coalition. They will shoot their campaign videos together, made light of the awkward moments before the camera. They were here to show that the 2013 spirit that catapulted them to victory was still alive and well. But in the background, disquiet was growing apace on both sides.
He would line up permanent secretaries aligned to him. He would line up parastatal heads aligned to him. And they had targets to take money to Karen on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And it was not sustainable. So I think by the time we were coming to the 2017 election, the boss was fed up.
Or you can at least sum it up into two. One was greed. And two was using blackmail as a weapon in the political arena against the president.
I wouldn't call it corruption. I call it, rivalry in terms of influence. Yeah, they wanted to. So I think time is running out. When are we going to control this government? Yeah, this shared government. Why are you sharing? It's supposed to be all ours. So it's not really corruption. Don't think that it's because they were cleaner than Caesar's wife. Their intentions were very clear.
There was a game, there was a plan, there was an instruction where somebody of the magnitude of the office of the deputy president would pick up the phone call and call junior procurement officers and give them orders about how to procure and about who to award tenders.
We have to accept that at a personal level, the deputy president has done well for himself. He's a tough bargainer. He's become a very rich man at a personal level. I mean, I don't know, they talk about 5 choppers. He admitted the other day to 2,500 acres of land in Taita area. And he's a rich man, that's for sure.
How is it possible for somebody to sustain a campaign for 5 years without conducting a fundraiser out of his pocket, 30 million a week, which is 120 million a month, which is 1.5 billion a year, which ends up to 7.5 billion to date out of his pocket. Hata kama anauza kuku or its eggs or whatever, it is not possible.
From the time the president was sworn in Kasarani, the president started implementing the politics of deceit and betrayal and humiliation.
According to Murathe, a key ally of President Kenyatta, Ruto's political ambitions had got the better of him and were now rocking the boat from within.
He started scheming the 2022 immediately after they won the 2013 election, all right? To a point where post 2017, there were even fears about the person of the president.
When I met them first, when I met President Uhuru Kenyatta at the memorial service of the father of Mudavadi, he asked me and his people asked me, why are you fighting the deputy president? I told them that one day you people will assist me to fight him because he's in a rush for gold. You don't do that. You go slowly by slowly. It takes time. There is no shortcut to leadership and there is no shortcut to riches.
But we realized the president was implementing in his second term. He needed us in the first term. He needed us to cross the bridge in 2017. And once he crossed the bridge, he said, now I'll remove the ladder. And by the way, he did that.
The maximum number of...
With the 2017 general election drawing closer, both sides seem to have agreed on a temporary truce to allow them to cross the hurdle of an election they both needed to win for different reasons.